In 1978, a chunk of metal weighing nearly 6 tons plummeted from the sky and slammed into the Australian outback. This wasn't some ancient meteorite, nor was it a natural phenomenon. This was a piece of human-made technology, falling dangerously and entirely unpredictably. It was the remains of Skylab, NASA's first space station. What if I told you that this wasn't an isolated incident, but a preview of a much larger, far more sinister problem lurking just above our heads? A problem that could end life as we know it, and the true scale of which governments and space agencies might not want you to fully comprehend. To understand this slow-motion catastrophe, we need to rewind to the dawn of the space age. The year was 1957, and humanity launched its first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1. It was a triumph of engineering, a symbol of progress, a tiny orb transmitting simple beeps from orbit. But with that triumph came a hidden cost, a nascent problem nobody fully anticipated. After its short mission, Sputnik became the first piece of space junk, silently circling Earth. Then came Vanguard 1 in 1958, still in orbit today, a derelict ghost whispering through the void. Each launch, each mission, each new satellite added to this growing celestial graveyard. Rockets would shed their spent stages, satellites would malfunction, others would simply exhaust their fuel and die. The Cold War space race, with its feverish competition and relentless push for technological dominance, accelerated this accumulation exponentially. Both the US and the Soviet Union were less concerned with orbital hygiene and more focused on achieving milestones, projecting power, and outmaneuvering each other. The vastness of space seemed so infinite, so boundless, that the idea of polluting it felt almost absurd. But it wasn't. Each tiny fragment, each discarded bolt, each piece of flaking paint began its relentless journey around our planet, moving at unfathomable speeds, transforming from inert debris into potential weapons, each one holding the capacity for unimaginable damage. This wasn't a problem that announced itself with a grand fanfare. It was a silent, creeping encroachment, an invisible shroud steadily tightening around our world. But things took a far more sinister turn when, in 2007, China conducted an anti-satellite missile test. They intentionally destroyed their defunct Fengyan 1C weather satellite. The result? A cataclysmic explosion that generated over 3,000 pieces of trackable debris and countless smaller, untrackable fragments. This single event, a display of geopolitical power, instantly increased the amount of space junk in low Earth orbit by 25%. Then, just 2 years later, in 2009, an active Iridium communications satellite collided with a defunct Russian Cosmos military satellite. This was no intentional act, no test of force, but simply two pieces of space debris, one active, one abandoned, on a catastrophic collision course. The impact was violent, instantaneous, and devastating, creating thousands more pieces of debris. This wasn't just metal smashing into metal. This was a chilling glimpse into what scientists call the Kessler Syndrome. Imagine a domino effect. One collision spawns thousands of fragments. Those fragments then hit other satellites, creating even more debris, until low Earth orbit becomes an impassable, impenetrable cloud of high-velocity shrapnel. Suddenly, launching new satellites becomes impossible. Our existing ones, which govern everything from our GPS navigation to our weather forecasts, our global communications, even our defensive military systems, could be systematically destroyed. What happens when your phone can't find a signal? When your car's GPS stops working? When your financial transactions grind to a halt because the satellites enabling them have been annihilated? The implications are staggering, a quiet apocalypse unfolding above our heads. And it's not just the accidental collisions. There's a growing concern about active surveillance. Every piece of space junk, every orbital maneuver, every whisper of a malfunction is tracked by powerful radar arrays and telescopes. Who is watching whom? And if the sheer volume of debris wasn't enough, consider the military implications. The very concept of space junk creates a perfect cover. How do you distinguish between a defunct satellite and a weaponized platform lying dormant, awaiting activation. The fog of war could extend into orbit, allowing for stealth attacks disguised as accidental failures. The line between observation and aggression blurs when the debris field becomes a crowded, chaotic battlefield. We've gone from a few lost bolts to an actual minefield, where every object, no matter how small, is traveling at speeds up to 7,500 miles per hour. A fleck of paint at that speed can punch a hole through a spacecraft, disabling sensitive electronics or even breaching the hull. The International Space Station, a marvel of human ingenuity, is constantly bombarded, requiring frequent evasive maneuvers and the patching of microscopic holes. Astronauts live with the ever-present threat of impact, a tiny projectile potentially causing an instantaneous decompression event. The scale of the threat is immense, and it escalates with every single launch, every satellite deployed, every test conducted. There are an estimated 130 million pieces of debris smaller than 1 centimeter across, and over 1 million pieces between 1 and 10 centimeters. Each one is a silent, unpredictable bullet aimed at our future in space. What they discovered next changed everything, or rather, what they silently observed continue month after month, year after year. The problem isn't just about debris in orbit threatening active satellites. It's also about what happens when those thousands of tons of metal eventually fall back to Earth. Most smaller pieces burn up harmlessly in the atmosphere, leaving a fleeting streak across the night sky. But larger objects, like Skylab, or even spent rocket stages and massive defunct satellites, can survive re-entry, plummeting to the ground uncontrolled. The Skylab incident, which saw debris scattered across Australia, was terrifying precisely because of its unpredictability. Imagine a 6-ton piece of metal, tearing through the atmosphere, glowing red-hot, and crashing into a populated area. The probability of hitting a specific person or building is low, but with the sheer number of objects in orbit, the risk accumulates. Just last year, there were several instances of uncontrolled re-entries, fragments often landing in remote areas, but sometimes coming alarmingly close to human habitation. And the problem is only getting worse. Companies like SpaceX, Amazon, and OneWeb are launching thousands of new satellites to create vast constellations for global internet coverage. This is a game changer, increasing the orbital traffic exponentially. While these companies often claim their satellites are designed to deorbit safely, the sheer volume introduces new risks, new opportunities for malfunction, new chances for a disastrous cascade. There's no unified international legal framework specifically for space debris mitigation, no global police force patrolling the cosmos. Each nation has its own guidelines, often weak and poorly enforced. And what about the objects that can't be deorbited? What about the 19,000 objects larger than a coffee cup that are currently being tracked? These aren't just statistics. These are ticking time bombs above our heads. Efforts are being made to develop technologies for active debris removal, harpoons, nets, even lasers. But these are years, if not decades, away from being implemented on the scale required. And the cost? Astronomical. Who pays for it? Who is responsible for cleaning up the mess we've collectively made? The answer is unclear, shrouded in international bureaucracy and a distinct lack of political will. We are building a house of cards above our planet, and with every new launch, every new satellite, we are adding another card, making the structure more precarious. The silence from official channels often feels deafening, perhaps because the true scale of the problem, the existential threat it poses to our modern way of life, is too terrifying to openly acknowledge. The very infrastructure that underpins our technological society is floating in a cosmic minefield of our own creation. To this day, we may never fully grasp the true magnitude of the danger. The space above us, once seen as an endless frontier, is now becoming a dangerous junkyard, a testament to humanity's ambition and its short-sightedness. We launched ourselves into the stars, but forgotten our responsibilities to the very space we now inhabit. The silence from official sources, the quiet tracking of thousands of potential impactors, the lack of a comprehensive, unified solution. It all points to a looming crisis that nobody wants to confront head-on. The slow whisper of a problem is growing into a roar, and it could one day cut off our connection to the very cosmos we so desperately wish to explore. The next time you look up at the night sky, past the stars and the satellites, remember that unseen, unheard, and apocalyptic cloud of our own making continues to grow, a ticking time bomb orbiting Earth. If you want more mysteries like this, the next video explores the strange disappearances of ships in the South Atlantic anomaly and the unexplainable phenomena reported by sailors for centuries.